out of that Teller's Archives area, where he's been holding onto his mirror window. 3 players left on the side of Secret, and they have that top 4 control, but no breach onto the side of Cafeteria either. 1 player still around Archives, waiting for someone to come down these square stairs. Will do so, but will actually not win the gunfight. And Arcade goes down as well. So a tactical 3v2 situation, make it a 2v2 situation as Cowana goes really low on HP too.
Too little, too time, too late might be the breakdown, as they're going to try and get some cover, but the cover comes from a gun on the opposite side. The Maestro cam means all of this is going checked, and, well, it just takes a player to swing round, and it's going to be Sloth that does that. Cowana win the first round here. The opening defense.
Sloth by throwing some C4s in, or some grenades in this detection. It's actually Sloth to win the gunfight versus Gomfy, but gets raided out quite quickly by Kendrew, and Arcade now finds himself in a 1v4 situation.
Well, he's a little bit familiar with being the last player alive, but a 4 versus 1 with 40 seconds, you assume this is going Secret's way, unless they can pull out something that is pretty atrocious, more than an Arctic, something insane. The C4 over the top does catch. I thought they were just able to slip away, but an Arctic finds the first and finds a bit of a rotate up top. He's going to see if he can cause a little bit of damage elsewhere, but look, no one has the diffuser on Secret's side at this moment in time, and that could be a big blow because they have to go for the recollect. There it is. The beepers give a bit of the game away, and Kendrew's, or Keenan even, is like, I'm out of here. Don't need to play this game. 15 seconds. We got to get this down to sight, because if we find ourselves caught by the lack of time, that's the nightmare. The cover comes over this opener, and there it is. The pickup for Kendrew, just at the last second, swap to the right place. And it's one apiece. Fire, and it worked like traces for Gorgona to swing on that corner, an important part, but Keenan pulls it back. He's been a big driving force, and you've got to look at the fact that Grizzly hasn't quite been able to connect with this game as well, and Arcic's kills, they came when he was in this pretty tricky situation. So, whilst it's a little bit more balanced, can they bring just a little bit more of that balance back? There it is, and Arcic steps it up and steps it into a 2 versus 2, waiting for the swing in on the windows and finds it. A huge take, round on the back, doing everything to clean him up in Janitors, but it's Keenan with a triple, a 1 versus 1. The diffuser is close, but oh no, who's that? It's Grizzly on the Echo. All it takes is 1 drone, 1 position, and 1 swing round. There's no reveal, there's no place, there's barely any time. He has the diffuser back, but you assume it's the Echo drones to win either side of a castle. And that is a round to Cowana. Enough. As he keeps that a more impassable barricade there. Most of the pellets taken care of, but Kendrew uses it, as we know from Emzo. Holes, they go both ways. And this time it's Kendrew that finds that punishment across the board in the bow of Cowana, but 40 seconds, and they still don't have a big solid wall open, but at least they now have themselves swinging onto the site. It's locked down. A rotate round to the other open window, and here we go as we're about to have what is this final swing round. The call, the drop, Sloth locked in, having a huge game so far. Kendrew has an instant response, and it's dropped on the open window. 1 more for Sloth. He's trying to find a fight on every angle. They find him instead, and Cowana. He was the long lost story down in blue, but he is not having a happy end. 2 for 2. Grenade as well. Benja had already pulled away. I think he sensed the danger sign on the far side, and well, there's no point losing your life at this. However, the hatch open underneath. A great C4 has great results. That's 2 for 2 on C4s. The Iana has popped 2. And they retake their mantle just here on the close swing, and it puts them in this awkward position. Once again, I talked about this idea of chasing these players, but at this point, when they're on the site, well, you kind of have to. 15 seconds, and they find themselves in this tricky situation. They've got to throw themselves onto site, take a hot drop with the hatch, as that's the only place the diffuser is. They go down, but so do a handful of players. It's a Secret in the middle with nowhere else to go, but a third Cowana round.
But this does stop Secret in their push or their tied attempt to take this top floor control, because they still haven't fully gotten it. They're going to get the kill onto Packbull, another one onto Slubben, and now they only find 2 players on the side of Secret against 5 of Cowana.
Sort of losing a bit of a grasp and a handle on where all these approaches are coming from, and as Gomfy tries to find his way up the main stairs, it's another body lost. Keenan, the last in there, just aware of where he is as he is to them, and with 30 seconds and a cold diffuser and 5 bodies to go through, it's got to be something exceptional, but it's the flawless response as we find it all locking out here. 4 to 2 in the half. They were able to take the victory last time, but it came down to some battling back of French resilience as they just tried to fire their way through onto site. Gorgona gets the opener and the drop as they put the pressure onto the back of the green gold vault. It is now suddenly Sloth who's trying to drive their way through too. And here, they're biting on every single side. Hopped in the big double window, and Benja's the first to suffer, but suddenly it's just Sleben. They're going to try and get a plant on the opposite side. Here, all around you, Sleben. And Cowana, with 30 seconds left, do what Vitality earlier could not. Flood the site and entirely wash out. Flood of flashes that don't quite hit the marks. They go over the top. Benja's the first to go down, and it's the Finker as well. So you're waiting for the chance of potentially a pickup here, but with everything else that needs to be done, it sprays over the top. And Cowana getting the call. Benja finally gets themselves back to standing, and here with 10 seconds, it's the same thing we complained about before, but look at Kendrew, look at one. Is he going for two? He can't quite get it. He just misses, but all the time gone. They've got to try and fly and flood their way into sight. And Arkic wants to find a soft spot to stick, holds F, has some cover. Sleben tries to pop over the top and just find it. Cowana to sort of say, come at me, or he was waiting for what was more likely the inevitable swing round. He knows Cowana likes to try and drone and drop their way through, and as everything starts to pop, look at the time. 20 seconds, and Cowana has to try and flood their way through once again. They've done this before. Can they do it once more? Well, the opener is no, as Cowana goes down, but Sloth and Sleben find one apiece. It's another body inside the site. Keenan does a bit of important gunplay there, and they're going to see if they can get that diffuser down. And Arkic, a handful of seconds. Grizzly, 2 angles to try and cover from it, to spray round onto the first and gold. It's back on the other side. Grizzly gets the first, the diffuser somehow hits the ground. It's an Arkic, pushes them into a 1 versus 1, gets the Banshee. He's going to pull himself away and finds a second to breathe. The big opener is the hop over the top. Gonfi, no C4 and not many other kills either in his pocket. He's going to see if he can bait a bit of this play. The flashes are going to be the burst and the burnt of information. It's an Arkic that locks off the opener for Cowana.
Looking to find an easy pick by any of the defenders going aggressive, but that isn't happening so far. Secret's playing it very passive, but in a good way as well, because they're just waiting for these last 2 remaining players to jump in. That's how Keenan finds the kill onto Benja, leaving an Arkic in a 1v5 situation. He will need to ace clutch to get the win here, but with 15 seconds left on the board, diffuser in hand, all the way on the other side of the map, I don't think that's going to happen.
I would be amazed, I would be surprised, and I would probably assume that something else entirely had gone on, but no. And Arkic is not able to cement this first round. Doesn't hand them the flawless, but it may as well be because they mopped the floor with that approach. Secret have that opener they have. As we pass this minute marker and the Bucks doing some business work above, it gives Cowana a moment to try and drop down. Sleben somehow survives. It's Kendrew that actually gets caught in the trade with Keenan getting one of his own, but Keenan finds a second before there's actually finally the end of them. Keenan, he's still alive, and he's still this pressure possibility as he creeps his way up to the top. He wants to see if he can strike on the opposite side. If he can find one more player, they have 2 up there and one on the double window where they're going to try and put their plant on. 30 seconds, mean they can apply a little bit more pressure, but there it is. Packbull on the far side, the smokes come through, the drop and the pre-fire. Keenan almost gets caught from the hatch. It's an Arkic that's next. It's Packbull that puts all the pressure down onto the backside. Cowana, he's in the supply room and the side slide of the bar stock, but he can't quite get this little sneaky approach he wants. The flashes, he knows there's an engagement whichever way he goes. And Keenan and Packbull keep it locked for Secret. Buys some safety now for that player on the Solarium stairs. Gonfi's on a bit of an explore, but he's otherwise just found nothing because all of the pressure's come onto the site. Sloth drives through. Sleben gets a double, but goes down in the exchange over that Solarium side, and there it is. Dancing past the top. They need to see if they can find a place to stop and drop this diffuser, but Gonfi above is making so many problems for them. The pings, the intel, it's all into their favor. 1:20. And now you're looking at what Cowana are going to do with this intel. They know they don't have above, but they know they have the diffuser.
Exactly, and Benja's got a great position here, hiding behind the display, waiting for that last player to come down the stairs. Finds the easy shot onto Keenan. Meanwhile, on the other side, that Vigil was cleared up too. So a strong attack coming out from Cowana rid of it now, and that means that the Hibana should be able to open up the wall. No damage done, however, with those grenades. Gonfi's only taking a little bit of damage though, and Keenan's still on very low speed, but Kendrew pushes out massively and gets the kill onto an Arkic. I don't think they were aware of this. No,
Kendrew read an idea and an opportunity and made sure that he swung through, pre-fired onto the first, hoping there'd be a little bit more to catch. And there's an easy second. Kendrew can't quite get the third, but still sort of handed one there, as they've been leaning into these firefights so aggressively. Benja bites back over the top of the piano. The only music he's playing is into the head The defensive Secret now as he finds one more, finally stopped. Keenan over the top, but a 1 versus 1. Sloth versus Packball, 2 players that have importantly stepped up throughout this engagement. Can't quite get the read and the beat on where the player is. Going to go all the way aggressively onto the small box. Just takes a little bit of audio, a little bit of a pre-fire, a little hop of a shield, and Sloth somehow clinches it. It's not the first time we've seen a Secret player punished within the opening 30 seconds. It's not really the first time that we've seen them get 2, but it's definitely the first that we've had 3 off the board within the opening minute. Packball at least stems the blood, but he's under an immense amount of pressure. As we said, they might go quick. Look at that, the drone at his feet, giving the call and the read on everything he's doing. He didn't last long, but how are you supposed to?
Situation. They know where he is though. There's a drone on site and this gets smoked off. The first can nearly be potted as well, but he wasn't aware of a player in Piano. It was a player outside Piano on that little window, just waiting for him to come rotate towards Piano. A lot of pressure put on his Kendra too. He's still on the top 4. He can run around all he wants. He tries to go back to the side instead.
I like that he threw the impact there, but as soon as he loosed it, he made his way back round onto the rotate onto site. He wants to put some fear into the approach here and force one more player of Cowana to have to pay attention elsewhere. Grizzly drives themselves into the site, puts them into the 4 versus 2. A handful of seconds left. They've made it work before, not on Chalet as of yet. They swing themselves round, but it's one important take and one more for the road. Cowana put themselves 4-2 on the half, 4 rounds in a row. Upside down, repelling, still trying to find a route through. There is nowhere for Secret to be able to just drive through here. Packball knows they're watched, so it's going to come through from Keenan with a little bit of a split onto the opposite window. There's the hop through, there's the drop down, there's Sloth still above. This is why I talk about how important it is to take a handle on the work you do above, because if it's still standing, so's the round. 5th in a row for Cowana, a big uphill for
Still Gorgona in a very interesting spot, because if they decide to jump into those west main windows, he might be the first player to stop them from doing so. As Grizzly is still upstairs, being fought by one of the players, a Secret, but his shield is still alive.
Grizzly has taken as much pressure, but look at the time. Secret, you got to try and find a way to close this down, and Grizzly is still above. The C4 is the lockdown as an Arkic gets one more, and Sloth doubling it up. It is all suddenly pulled away from Secret. Kendra is the last one left on a second story with a single kill. They are 1 round away, Cowana, of cementing themselves in the final. This is the problem with Secret. This is the problem sometimes, is they get a bit slow and things get a little bit dicey. But remember when I said Keenan has that breach, that breakthrough that they often need? Well, there's the second that he's got for this round, the most important round for them to try and find some momentum. But 15 seconds, they're slowly screaming their way up Solarium stairs. There's some pressure onto the site itself, but there's a drop on the backside. They have a defense. Packball is going to see if he can get the plant, and with the cover coming from Gomfi, they get it. They get 1. They still need another 3. They still need to try and replicate all the success they've been able to have this match. They survived all the way to the end. This time, Anarchic can't even get past that 2-minute mark.
There's only 3 players on the side of Cowana, and one of those mirror windows now gets shot down as well. Sloth finds himself moving down the main stairs, but there's 3 angles right at him, so he's having to pick up that kill all the way from the main door. Cowana now is the only one on site, but needs to find a lot of different angles, and a shot drone reveals his position, which should allow that player to start by pushing his position. Grizzly ever gets taken down, so it was a 1v4 situation, I would say, but Packball was able to pick that kill as a 1v5 even, because it was a flawless round. Secret really aren't in this to lose. Some map control, to push on further. They're now looking to take control over the shield on top library, as Darking is also being taken out. At least 3 operators on the side of Cowana.
Well, there it is. Look at this Secret. Suddenly they found an answer to how they can break through on Cowana, and it is fueled by the fire that we said they might be able to pick up from the unfortunate rehost situation before. We lost the round. Well, not for very long. Is their lead in here. Keenan, 1 more on the side, leaves just the player that disconnected before that caused the unfortunate situation. But once again, we find everything falling into place for a 6-5.
It's behind this display case where we've seen players before, just waiting on someone to come down on that solar stairs.
It's clever from Benja. They're wasting time. They know this is where Secret start to have this bad moment, and because there's only now 15 seconds that separates them from Well, the lower bracket, they've got to try and make a move. Over the top, Kendrew's going for a quick slip. It's Comfy that gets the opener. You just got to hit the hatch at this point, 6. And it's a 3 for 3 either side. They're spraying over the backside. It's Sloth with 1. It is only the single player left, Packbull. He holds it down, but it's Cowana that have the answer. Cowana have the lock off, and it looked a little bit shaky at the end, but they finally found that full stop for a 7-5. And a cemented place in our best of 5 final tomorrow.